In the midst of a bright yet tense morning at a military airbase, the activity surrounding the F-16 fighter jets was intensifying rapidly. Utility vehicles and ammunition trucks moved back and forth across the apron, supporting various stages of preparation underway. Pilots, dressed in olive green flight suits and equipped with mission gear, including helmets, gloves, and document bags, hurried toward their jets lined up neatly along the parking ramp. Their expressions were serious, eyes locked forward, seemingly immersed in thoughts of flight routes and mission objectives awaiting them. Along the way, ground crew and technicians offered crisp salutes, reflecting a deep sense of coordination and mutual respect between teams. Every pilot's step appeared to follow a rhythm long mastered, a rhythm of readiness and discipline that defines the core of a professional air force. Not far from where the pilots walked, several F-16s were undergoing thorough technical inspections by highly trained ground crews. They worked swiftly yet meticulously, checking avionics, fuel systems, and the weaponry mounted beneath the wings. Air-to-air missiles like the AIM-120 AMRAAM and precision-guided bombs such as the GBU-38 were already installed and firmly secured. Armament crews used small flashlights to double-check connectors and safety locks, ensuring that everything was locked and ready. External fuel tanks were re-inspected for any leaks or pressure issues. Nearby, engine specialists opened access panels to examine temperature sensors and air intake ducts. Each crew member wore color-coded vests, red for weapons, green for maintenance, and purple for fuel, signifying their specific roles in the operation. Everyone worked in quiet synchronization, like a logistical orchestra rehearsed for critical moments. The roar of engines began to echo across the base as several aircraft were declared ready for takeoff. The distinct sound of General Electric F-110 turbofan engines engaging their afterburners reverberated across the facility, signaling the final phase of pre-mission preparation. Pilots inside the cockpits performed their last checks from the instrument checklist, ensuring the radar system, weapons control, communications, and the head-up display (HUD) were functioning correctly. Brief radio exchanges with the control tower confirmed that all safety procedures had been meticulously followed. On the taxiway, several F-16s started moving slowly toward the runway, canopies closed and navigation lights blinking, ready to merge with the sky. Heat exhaust from the engines distorted the air behind them, giving a shimmering visual effect, a reminder of the immense power hidden within the sleek frames of the fighter jets. The entire scene at the airbase that morning radiated a high level of combat readiness from a disciplined and professional air unit. No motion was wasted, no command ignored. Every personnel, from junior technicians to senior pilots, played an essential role in ensuring the success of the mission. The F-16, renowned as a versatile and agile multi-role fighter, stood as a symbol of air power driven not just by advanced technology, but also by the dedication and relentless effort of those who worked behind the scenes. As the aircraft wheels began to roll across the tarmac and engines surged to full power, one thing became abundantly clear. This unit wasn't just preparing to fly, it was preparing to answer the call of duty, fully ready, anytime and anywhere. At the far end of the apron, the F-16 pilots activated their taxi sequence toward the runway, as instructed by the control tower. With steady, deliberate motion, the aircraft began to move along the designated taxi route, following the sequence laid out during the pre-mission briefing. Navigation lights flickered, canopies were sealed tight, and the HUD before each pilot's eyes displayed real-time navigational data. The line of F-16s moved like a convoy of iron serpents, maintaining safe distances and continuous radio communication. Some ground crew members gave final hand signals as the jets passed by, gestures of farewell before the mission commenced. Though tension was palpable, it was not reflected in the composed, focused expressions of the pilots, who remained locked into their instruments. As each jet reached the runway hold point, they briefly paused for final systems checks. Pilots adjusted throttles, monitored hydraulic pressures, and ensured engine temperatures were within operational thresholds. The radio crackled again, this time with the voice of the air traffic controller granting takeoff clearance, one aircraft at a time. The pilot at the front of the line acknowledged the command, gently steering the jet onto the center line of the runway. Once in position, he took a deep breath, pushed the throttle into full afterburner, and within seconds, a blaze of fire erupted from the rear nozzle as the aircraft surged forward with explosive force. The first jet launched like an arrow released from a bow. In a matter of seconds, its speed climbed drastically, and the wheels lifted off the tarmac. The aircraft soared upward, leaving a faint trail of vapor in its wake. The engine's roar tore through the sky, rattling observation post windows around the base. In the cockpit, the pilot began configuring the jet for cruise altitude. The HUD now displayed the mission route, waypoint markers, and the weapon system's combat-ready status. This first jet was soon followed by others, each launching in succession, forming a precision takeoff sequence that was both disciplined and impeccably timed. With each aircraft airborne, the intensity of the moment increased. The thunder of afterburners echoed again and again as each subsequent F-16 took to the skies. On the ground, mission controllers and supervisory personnel recorded departure times and tracked flight paths via radar and computer systems. Inside the control room, large screens displayed the positions of each jet, visualizing their formation and directional movement. Meanwhile, in the skies above, the pilots began forming tactical formations, maintaining prescribed intervals according to air combat doctrine. Communication between the pilots was seamless and professional, laced with call signs, military jargon, and coordination codes they had memorized through rigorous training. Once all the F-16s were airborne, the sky above the base transformed into a dynamic scene of combat formation maneuvers. Some aircraft climbed to designated altitudes to conduct air patrol, while others followed routes towards strategic points per mission plans. Inside their cockpits, the pilots continually monitored aircraft parameters from speed and wind direction to fuel levels. Electro-optical cameras and targeting systems were activated, providing long-range views of the simulated battlefield. All of this was executed at high speed, but under firm, practice control, the result of repeated drills and sharpened experience in real-world operations. Having formed their flight formations and reached operational altitude, the F-16 pilots proceeded to the next phase of their mission: precision bomb testing within a combat training scenario. The jets began maneuvering toward a designated weapons test area, a secured zone where ground targets had been set up to simulate real combat objectives. Inside the cockpit, pilots activated targeting pods such as the Sniper XR, locking onto targets with pinpoint accuracy. Data from the navigation and radar systems were fused in real time, enabling pilots to calculate bomb drop angles and release timings with surgical precision. Within pilot-to-pilot communication, target lock confirmations and coordinate briefings were shared in detail before releasing precision munitions like the GBU-12 or GBU-38 from controlled altitudes. Once a bomb was released, the jet immediately performed sharp, evasive maneuvers to avoid the blast radius and to simulate real combat tactics. As the mission progressed, some pilots pushed the throttle into supersonic range. demonstrating the F-16's capability to swiftly shift from attack mode to evasive or pursuit mode within moments. The engine's thunder reverberated at high altitudes, marking the sheer speed as the aircraft sliced through the air. Thin trails of condensation followed the jets, visualizing their high-speed flight paths. This entire bombing test phase was a seamless blend of cutting-edge technology and pilot expertise, showcasing the F-16 fleet's readiness for actual combat scenarios. The success of the exercise not only highlighted the weapon system's precision, but also the pilot's exceptional maneuvering skills and rapid response capabilities,